All right, so are you ready for this? Today, we're going deep on Tesla's roadmap for the next few years.
Their roadmap, more like a launch pad, am I right?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, between Elon Musk saying crazy stuff, those new factory plans, even analysts trying to guess what Tesla will be worth 10 years out, there's a lot to talk about.
I think wild is putting it lightly.
Yeah, wild is a good word for it. We're talking millions of robots, self-driving cars that are supposedly safer than humans, and batteries that can power a city. Where do we even begin?
How about the one that everyone is already thinking about? Full self-driving.
FSD.
Yeah, FSD. Musk claims it'll be safer than us behind the wheel by early Q2.
This year.
Yeah, like just a few months from now. They keep pushing that date closer, but, it is Tesla.
Right? Is it even possible?
Ambitious, for sure. What I find interesting is their approach. Musk is always going on about real-world AI. Basically means they're building AI that can deal with, like, the messiness of real roads, not just simulations.
So not just code, but AI that learns from the real world.
Exactly. They're collecting tons of data from the cars that are already out there, using it to train their neural networks. Imagine giving the AI a crash course in human driving, but with, like, millions of hours of experience.
Compressed into a crazy short time.
Yeah.
And Musk is saying this real-world AI makes FSD not just equal to humans, but like 10 times safer than 100 times safer. Those are some big claims.
He loves setting expectations high, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It is important to think about what safer really means, though, right?
All right.
What are they measuring? Accidents per mile, lives saved. The details matter.
You're right. You're right. And it's not just the tech itself either. This changes transportation, jobs, everything.
Everything.
We'll get into all that later. But
Yeah.
first, gotta ask about the Tesla bot, Optimus.
Oh, yeah.
This thing is right out of a movie, Musk talking thousands built this year and maybe 1 million by 2027.
The numbers he's put out before, but still crazy aggressive. What's interesting is Musk sees these robots everywhere, like billions more robots than people on Earth.
Okay, now my brain is starting to hurt. Billions. What would they all do?
Well, Musk sees them handling a bunch of stuff, manufacturing, logistics, you name it, even things we haven't thought of yet. He's mentioned chores, being companions, all sorts of things.
So not just factories, we're talking robots in our homes. That's a whole other level of change.
And it isn't all talk. They actually built that Optimus prototype, you remember, walking around, watering plants.
Yeah, it was kind of clunky, wasn't it?
Of course, it's super early. But Musk talked about the hand, 22 degrees of freedom. It can move and grab things in a way that's actually pretty impressive for a machine. And again, this all comes back to that real-world AI. It's the same core tech behind both FSD and Optimus.
So one system to rule them all. Driving, cooking, who knows what else.
Seems to be the strategy, which, I mean, it makes sense. If they can make AI that can handle anything, the possibilities are endless. Big if, though.
Hold that thought. Gotta talk about Tesla's new Megapack factory in Shanghai. It's pumping out these huge batteries like crazy.
Smart move, really. Demand for energy storage is just exploding everywhere because everyone is switching to renewables. Tesla's setting themselves up to be the leader.
Yeah, 10,000 megapacks a year from this new factory.
Yeah.
Double their global output.
Yeah.
Just to remind everyone, what are megapacks again?
Imagine a battery the size of a house, powerful enough to run a small town. They're for storing energy at a crazy scale. Super important for dealing with the ups and downs of solar and wind power.
Makes sense. Store energy when the sun's out or it's windy, then use it later. So this Shanghai factory I was reading, it kind of goes against the whole US-China decoupling idea.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Going green is a global thing. Got to work together, right? This factory is a perfect example of that.
Which leads to this other story. We have a Chilean utility just ordered a gigawatt hour of megapacks from Tesla for a massive solar farm.
The Colbún project, right. It's one of the biggest in Chile. It's supposed to be finished by 2026.
Exactly. I think those megapacks are coming from Shanghai, which show off Tesla's global reach.
Could be. It all shows how connected the energy world is. These huge battery projects are everywhere, and Tesla is right in the middle of it.
Okay, so self-driving cars, robots, and batteries the size of houses. What connects all this? And where's it all taking Tesla?
$1 million question. Or, knowing Tesla, $1 trillion question. One source actually tried to figure out what Tesla might be worth in a decade, and the number is wild.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. They're saying Tesla could hit $35 trillion by 2030, right? That's more than the entire U.S. economy.
It is huge. Raises a bunch of questions, too. How did they even get that number? And, more importantly, is it even remotely realistic?
Yeah, that's what I want to know. Hype or something more?
Well, let's take a look at their analysis and see what we find. So
Mm.
to get to this $35 trillion number, got to understand what intrinsic value is.
Okay.
It's different from, what you see on the stock market, which is just share price times number of shares. Intrinsic value is about looking at the future, all the
Mm.
company's potential, earnings, and trying to say what it's really worth.
Okay, that makes sense. But like $35 trillion, that's a lot of potential. What are they basing it on?
Their big thing is this inflection point they see happening in 2025.
Okay.
They're saying that's when robots, both the robotaxis with FSD and Optimus, start making serious money for Tesla. By 2030, their model says it's the robots that are the most valuable part of the company.
So cars and energy, the stuff Tesla does now, that becomes almost nothing compared to robots. Bold prediction.
Definitely. And it depends on a lot going right for Tesla. Like people got to actually use FSD. They got to make tons of Optimus robots without them being too expensive. And of course, these robots got to actually do all the stuff they're hyped up to do.
Let's say, just for fun, they nail it. What's that world even look like? Millions, billions of Tesla robots running around. Wall-E Terminator? Something else?
Tough to say, but definitely a huge change. Think about it. If robots can handle the risky jobs, the boring ones, humans are free to do more creative stuff.
Yeah.
Construction sites with robots doing the heavy work, elder care with robots helping patients.
That's the good side, right? But what about jobs? People need those jobs that robots might take.
Definitely something we can't ignore. Moving to a world with more automation, we got to be smart about it. Retraining people, safety nets, all that stuff. It's happened before with other big tech changes. We got to learn from that.
Yeah, it's not like robots are the answer to everything, right? Could even make new problems if you got to deal with.
Exactly. And then there's the bigger picture, society. What happens when machines look and act more human? Are they just tools or something more? Philosophers have been talking about this forever, but now it's a real question we have to answer.
Wow, this is a lot. Robots, billions of them, changing everything we know. My brain needs a break.
It's a lot to process.
Oh.
But let's step back for a second. What Tesla's doing with both FSD and Optimus, it's basically trying to create artificial general intelligence, AGI.
AGI.
Yeah, the holy grail of AI research, a system that learns and adapts to anything, just like a person.
And they think they can do this with their real-world AI approach, training on actual data, not just simulations.
That's their bet. It's different from a lot of other AI companies out there. Most are focused on what they call narrow AI, really good at one specific thing, like chess or writing. Tesla's aiming way higher.
But is it even possible? Scientists have been working on AGI for decades.
It's definitely one of the biggest challenges out there. No guarantee Tesla will figure it out. But they have a few things going for them. First, the data. Millions of cars gathering info from the real world. All that data trains their system.
Like their cars are one giant AI experiment.
Pretty much. And they've also got some really smart people working for them. Top talent in AI and robotics. And they're not afraid to take risks.
So data, talent, and they're not afraid to go big. But is that enough? What are the roadblocks?
Well, the tech itself is super hard. To get a system that learns like a human, that's incredibly complex. It's not just about how powerful your computers are. You need to understand how the human brain works and turn that into code.
And then there's all the people who are skeptical. Lots of folks think AGI is just a sci-fi dream, or they're worried about what happens if machines get too smart.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Tesla's got to convince everyone, not just investors, that this tech is safe, helpful, and something worth doing.
Okay, but let's say, for the sake of argument, they do it. What does that mean for Tesla as a company? How does it get them to that $35 trillion valuation?
Now, this is where it gets interesting. If they actually pull off this AI that can run both self-driving cars and robots, the possibilities are basically endless, which means huge markets, lots of ways to make money.
So it's not about selling cars anymore. It's about being like the AI company, the brains behind everything.
Right. And if they can do that, $35 trillion might not be so crazy after all. But, and this is a big, but it's still a huge gamble.
Okay, we've talked about the good stuff. What could go wrong?
Well, maybe they just can't do it. Maybe AGI is just too hard, or they run into something they didn't expect.
And even if they succeed, what if people don't want it? Maybe they don't trust self-driving cars, or they're freaked out by robots.
Plus, there are other companies out there working on this stuff too. Someone else might come up with something better, cheaper, something people like more.
And what about the government? They're starting to pay attention to AI. Could be new rules, restrictions, stuff that makes it harder for Tesla.
All good points. And then there are the ethical questions, How do we make sure these powerful technologies are used for good? Tesla has a lot to figure out if they want to succeed.
So high risk, high reward. Tesla's betting the farm on AI. Gonna be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Total nail-biter. It's like watching one of those high-stakes poker games. All the chips are in, we're all just waiting to see what happens next.
Okay, before we get too dramatic, want to go back to something you said, that inflection point in 2025. Seems like everything is happening then. What else is on Tesla's plan for 2025 besides the FSD and Optimus stuff?
Their roadmap's packed. New car models, Cybertruck finally, expanding the charging network, semi-truck production going up, big upgrades to their AI training systems.
Sounds like a make or break year.
And all of this is happening with, all the craziness in the world right now. Politics, supply chains, new tech popping up all the time.
Gonna be a wild ride.
You said it, Kier.
So, big picture, robots, trillions of dollars. All that's exciting, but let's get into the details of what Tesla's actually planning for 2025. They've set some pretty crazy goals, and it's not going to be easy. What are you watching out for?
Well, first off, there's the Cybertruck.
Oh, yeah.
It's been delayed, a bunch of times already? And who knows when it'll actually start being built. If they mess that up, it's going to hurt their image big time.
People have been waiting forever for the Cybertruck. They're going to be either really happy or really pissed when it finally comes out.
And then there's the semi-truck, which has also had its delays. Getting production going for both the Cybertruck and the Semi at the scale they need, that's a huge job, especially with all the supply chain stuff going on and the chip shortage.
Feels like every company's struggling with that right now.
Yeah.
But Tesla's pretty good at doing things themselves, right? That vertical integration thing, maybe that gives them an edge.
True. They don't rely on other companies as much as some car makers, which is good when things are chaotic.
Yeah.
But still, it's a massive logistical challenge, no doubt.
And what about the AI side? Hitting superhuman safety with FSD by, early Q2? That's super soon. What are the experts saying? Can they actually do that?
Honestly, a lot of them are doubtful. Some think they'll need some, major AI breakthrough that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
And even if they get that, making it work perfectly in real driving, that's a whole other problem.
So yeah, missing that target could really spook investors.
For sure. And then you got to think about the economy, inflation, interest rates going up, maybe a recession coming. All that could hurt demand for Tesla stuff, which, let's face it, is still pretty pricey.
And the competition's getting serious. Other car companies are throwing billions at electric vehicles and self-driving tech. Tesla's not the only one in the game anymore.
Nope. They got to keep innovating, keep pushing if they want to stay on top. And it's not just about the tech itself, it's about actually making it happen. Can they build enough of these new things? Can they deliver what they're promising? Can they get people to actually buy into their vision?
Talk about pressure. But I mean, they've pulled off some crazy stuff before. What do you think? Can they handle all this and actually become that $35 trillion giant some people are predicting?
It's the question, right? On one hand, they have a history of proving everyone wrong. They've got loyal customers, a leader who thinks big in Elon Musk, and they're pushing the limits of what's possible with tech.
And doing it all themselves, that vertical integration, the focus on software and AI, expanding globally, those are all good things.
Oh, absolutely. But on the other hand, there are some serious obstacles. The tech is hard, the competition is tough, and who knows what's going to happen with the economy and regulations.
So big risk, big reward. Tesla's all in on AI, and watching it all play out is going to be wild.
No doubt. It'll be super interesting to see how investors react too. Will they stick with Tesla's long-term plan, even if there are bumps along the way? Or will they bail if the company doesn't hit these crazy targets?
True, the market isn't always patient. It wants to see results, and it wants them fast.
And that's the tightrope Tesla's walking. They got to push the limits, but also show they can make things happen that justify that huge valuation they have.
No matter what happens with their stock, there's no denying that Tesla's changing things. They're making other car companies get serious about electric vehicles. They're pushing AI forward. They're inspiring a whole new generation of engineers and people who want to build the future.
And they do it all with a bit of flair, which is definitely entertaining.
Makes them fun to watch, right? The ambition, the innovation, the drama. It's like a real-life sci-fi story unfolding right in front of us.
Couldn't have said it better. And we're all just along for the ride, wondering what amazing things they'll do next and what crazy stuff might happen along the way.
All right, I think that's a good place to wrap up our deep dive into Tesla's plans for the next few years. We talked about self-driving cars, robots, giant batteries, global expansion, all that. We looked at how this stuff could be good or bad and what challenges Tesla has in front of them.
Hopefully you've got a better sense now of what Tesla's trying to do and how they might change the world we live in.
Keep learning about this stuff. Talk about it with other people. Stay curious about all this new technology and what it means for us.
Because the future isn't just something that happens. It's something we make together. And companies like Tesla, with their big ideas and their willingness to try new things, they're playing a huge part in building that future.
Thanks for joining us on the deep dive. Until next time, keep learning, keep asking questions, and keep exploring.